Hey, running friends. Welcome to the Wrinkled Runner podcast. I'm Sherry, the Wrinkled Runner. I'm over 50 and I love to run wherever I go, but Buffalo, New York is my home. If you are looking to start to run or you're an older runner, this podcast is especially for you, so subscribe now. I love to help people get running and keep running. I have had many runners ask me why I became a running coach. I've also had many non-runners wonder what the heck a running coach is. And to be honest, when I first started to think about going through the certification process, I wasn't thinking I would ever really coach anyone other than myself. What I really wanted was to have the knowledge of a coach and use that when writing my blog so that I had a little more authority and credibility in the things that I was saying. I had gone from the first few posts talking about my personal training, but that quickly went into researching and giving out information about runs in general. Being able to coach myself was also an added benefit that I saw in planning to become a run coach. Once I learned how to put plans together for myself, I ended up doing it for other people, and then that kind of evolved into actually becoming a coach for other people. I started to love helping others in a very concrete way instead of just with the blog or the podcast or YouTube channel where I didn't really know the people that I was talking to. I have my certification through the Roadrunners Club of America. They have 2-day trainings all over the country, usually in a running store or affiliated with a running club, and runners who want to become coaches can pick a city near them if one comes around, or some also travel to the different places where they have that. There's a tab on the Roadrunners Club of America website, and you can research for yourself the coaching certification. You can also join a list, and when new ones can become available, they'll email you that list so that if one opens up near where you are, it's more convenient. I had to travel like 3 hours for mine, which wasn't a big deal. But, if I had to travel down to Florida, that adds to the expense, of course. Once I got home, I knew I wanted and needed to learn much more about putting trainings together. I had a good foundation, but things were still a little fuzzy for me. And that was when I invested in some books that have helped me immensely. Even if you don't have any aspirations of getting your certification in coaching, the books I'm going to talk about can help you become more knowledgeable about running and can give you a framework if you would like to try and put together some training for yourself. Even if you follow a plan from a book or off the internet, the design principles for training can help you tweak what you're doing, and you might find a fun new workout that you've never tried before. Keep in mind that all these books are by different coaches who have different ways of putting plans together. Often you will find coaches debating the wisdom of one coach over the other, the major ones, and many develop their own philosophies and ideas for how to implement training. You're going to find overlap with all of them, but as you read and learn and start to put some of this knowledge to your own use, you're going to pick and choose the perspectives that apply best to you, and your own convictions will start to emerge. This is one of the reasons why I found coaching so much fun, because it partially kind of aligning yourselves with other coaches and things that you see them doing, and then you develop your own kind of philosophies and the theories that you apply to your own training and the training of other people. So we're going to move on to the books, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the books that I have found very useful in putting together trainings. So the first book I read after passing my test was Jack Daniel's Running Formula. This book and the philosophy is the building block for what was covered in the certification process for RRCA. As I started to take notes and absorb the ideas in the book, what was covered in class really came together for me, and I was able to envision putting a plan together. There are formulas for adding in mileage and different kinds of workouts. Coach Daniels uses principles of training to build his programs, along with explanations of VO2 max and how that's used in running, and talks about training from the 800 meter up to the marathon. So if you have done RRCA training or you want to get a glimpse into what the training covers, the Jack Daniels book, Running Formula, will really help you with that. Coach Greg McMillan wrote a book called You Only Faster. This book has training plans and goes into how to tweak them to make them your own. He talks about training phases, training zones, and different workouts, and uses an example of his own personal half marathon training for himself throughout the book to show you how to structure your training, and also shows you how to maneuver things and get from one point to another. There's a section on the finer points of a plan, how to adjust them, adding in different types of workouts depending on what you're looking for, like race prediction workouts, which give you a good picture of what you can expect a race to look like for you and where you are in your training, and also goal paces, things like that. The last section is on his 10 rules of running. So I have the Kindle version, which links to his calculator for training paces. So if you've heard of the Macmillan training pace calculator, that comes from this coach. And this book really comes from the perspective of that you're not a coach, that you are somebody who is running and who wants to try and start putting training plans together for themselves. So this is a really good book also that I would begin with. Another book that digs really deep into training plan building and the science behind everything is The Science of Running by Steve Magness. The first part of this book goes into the science, and the second part of the book is step by step, a system of putting together a plan. Now, this book is a lot to absorb, so you're going to want to take your time with it. It even tells you in the book that if you are not interested in delving really deep into the science, you can actually go right to the second part of it. I find it helpful to have a notebook next to me, and I take notes on all the books, and I use sticky notes to mark off things that I know I will want to reference, and I write all over the books themselves. This is why after purchasing Macmillan's book and Daniel's on the Kindle, I switched to buying paperback so that I could do all that. I treat these books like textbooks and study them like I'm taking a college course with them. So this book has a lot of workout examples and talks about almost everything that you can imagine that you would need for building a training program. The last book is one that I refer to most often because it kind of is the one, after reading all of these, is kind of like how I like to coach. So Brad Hudson structures training in his book, Run Faster from the 5K to the Marathon, How to Be Your Own Best Coach. I'm currently using this book as I put together my own training for a half marathon in October, and I'm relying on a lot of the principles that I found as I put together a program for another client. Coach Hudson talks about adaptive running throughout the book and gives lots of examples of workouts and how to implement them throughout your training. He divides his training cycles into introductory, foundational, and sharpening, and provides his ideas on the hows and whys of each period. So if you are interested in delving into your training a little bit more or learning more about what goes behind running plans, I would encourage you to get one of these books and expand your own knowledge of running. So I ran for over 10 years before actually learning much beyond putting one foot in front of the other. Now things make so much more sense for me, and I think you're going to find it so beneficial to you if you learn even a little more about training and what goes into it and how you can step up your own individual plans, whether you learn to build them from scratch or just tweak some ready-made ones. This week's website is a link to my blog, The Wrinkled Runner, and a page with all of these books listed, as well as a few others that I have enjoyed reading, and they all have to do with running. Next week, I'll be talking about running consistently. I have found that one of the best things that you can do to improve your running fitness is just run. So I'll be talking a little bit about consistency and how to stay consistent in your running. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you know another runner who could benefit from today's topic, go ahead and share it. Do you have any running questions? You can ask me. Email me at sherry@wrinkledrunner.com, and if I can't answer your question, I will do the research to find the answer and share it with you. The questions I get from listeners like you help me develop episodes, so please don't be shy. You can sign up for my once-a-month newsletter using the link provided so that you can have all the Wrinkled Runner resources from the past month all in one place. I also have opened up my virtual coaching in addition to coaching one-on-one with those in the Buffalo, New York area. So head to my coaching page on the Wrinkled Runner website, which I will, of course, link to, and check out how we may be able to work together. Until next Monday, Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the run.